Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Ba'ashem, YAHAWASHI, Ba'ashem, Ruach Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace, love, salutations, and blessings to the house of David, which is the elect. And I just want to do a quick response video to this video done by the elder brother Manaka Zakba, entitled Genesis Israelites, We Fully Agree with the Apostles of GMS. And, that was basically a response video to this video done by Deacon Destruction Mode channel, Deacon Hassad, I think that's his name, or is that Brother Hassad? I'm Salakia, I'm getting their names confused, but nonetheless, the point of the matter is the topic that they were speaking about, which they did a video entitled Meet GMS, Black Cult That Wants to Take Little Girls. And, that's, complete, utter slander, lies. And ultimately, what they're doing is basically trying to push a sensationalism type of a video out there, slandering really the scriptures, right? Because that's what the starting with the elders and apostles of Great Millstone and on down, and the brothers like ourselves here at Men of Valor, what we teach is the scriptures, all right, in its entirety, all right, and I'm speaking about these two individuals, they clearly lack, understanding, and they lack really the spirit, and ultimately they have mortal thoughts. All right, they look at this topic of women being of marriageable age in a Edomite westernized mentality, right, and ultimately in a mortal thought process. Okay, because when we really, being of the hopeful elect, we are of our conversation is in heaven. Okay, our mindset, as the scripture says, that our affections set our affections on things above and not on things below. All right, and when they, go on, on this topic, when they speak about this topic, which they keep bringing out because they really, it's really just like I said, it's slander, and they're trying to paint a narrative that people of this world, right, in this age, and especially that are under the Edomite mindset in this culture, in this society, they would look at this, title, and they would do what? They would say, oh, these men and older men, are the P word. Okay, and really that is completely far from the truth, because when you deal with the truth, which is in the scriptures, women of marriageable age is happens through biology. All right, the age is really tied to the biology of a woman. Now, of course, also there are times where even if a woman, biology, or female, her biology changes her, from that stage of being a child to a young woman, and the scriptures tells you that that doesn't mean necessarily as soon as she becomes, a young woman through her getting her her menstrual cycle, that immediately, she has to now be taken by a man. Okay, but digressing from that, I wanted to speak on the topic of the mortal thoughts, right, versus concerning this topic, versus the immortal thoughts concerning this topic. And when you look at this from a perspective of being in the kingdom of heaven, which the Israelites in the kingdom will be immortals, so age, right, literally aging won't be a thing after a certain time period, just like in that movie In Time. I believe they stop aging at 25, right? There's going to be a certain time in the kingdom where we actually stop aging physically, but we're still going to be alive, right? We're still going to be, on the earth year after year. So you can have a man that is, let's say, 1,000 years old. Now, matter of fact, let's be even more, radical about it. You could have a man in the kingdom of heaven that's an Israelite, and you can start with the elect because the elect will be transitioned, right, from this age to the next. So let's say you have 101 of the 144,000 men that are alive today, that you stay alive until YAHAWASHI returns, and then they get that new body. That man is going to be in the kingdom day one, right? Day one, he will be on the scene in the kingdom. Now, the kingdom is an everlasting kingdom. So you can go, like I said, let's be dramatic about it and say year a trillion, right? The year 1 trillion in the kingdom. That same man that was there the time that YAHAWASHI returned, he's now been in the kingdom for 1 trillion years. However, he's going to still look like a young man because we're all going to get those new bodies. And I say he's going to look like a young man based off of what Ezra saw when he saw YAHAWASHI. And I'll get that here in the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 2, and I'm reading in the GNT. Chapter 2, verse 42, it says, "And I, Ezra, saw an enormous crowd on Mount Zion, too many people to count, and they were all singing and praising the Lord. Standing in the middle of the crowd was a very tall young man." Now, what I did, I just, went to Google and I just typed in young man's age range, right? And this is just based off of Esau and his, what he came up with. But this still can be used to drive the point. It says the age range for a young man is generally considered to be 18 to 25 years old. Now, we know in the scriptures, a boy, right, a child becomes a young man around the age of 12, 13, because that's when he goes through what is known as puberty, right? That or they call it adolescence, right? That whole teenage age period, that's made up, right? That's a made up. You go from being a infant, right, that gives suck, to a child, to a young man, and then you go from being a young man to a man, and then to an old man or elderly man. That is the age jumps, right, or the age brackets for mortals. But in the kingdom, the ones who gets changed, the men, right, and the women, but speaking specifically of the men that are of the elect that get changed, they're just going to become from what we are now to young gods. Okay, that's something that they say in in the world. Peace, young God. We're just going to be young gods because what Ezra saw when he saw YAHAWASHI, he says a very tall young man, taller than any of the others. He was placing a crown on the head of each person, but he towered above them all, and I was spellbound by the sight. Okay, then he says, "And I asked the angel, 'Who are these people, sir?' He replied, 'These are people who have taken off their mortal robes,'" right? The mortal robes is representation of your actual physical body, right? Because these physical bodies are likened to be clothes, right? Clothes for our spirits. That's why the word body comes from the word abode, which means home, right? This is a temporary home that we have because it's immortal. It can die, right? So the Lord, the ones who are of the elect, they're going to take off these mortal clothes, right? These mortal homes, and put on immortal ones. They have confessed their faith in God, and now they are being crowned in given crowns and palm branches as a symbols of their victory. You see? And it says, then I asked the angel, who is the young man? Now, once again, according to Esau, a young man can be considered somebody between 18 and 25. According to the scriptures, a young man really can be considered from somebody that starts at 12, right? So, not saying that the Lord is 12, but that's the age range of a young man. See? It says, who is this young man who is putting the crowns on their heads and giving them the palms, right? He is the Son of God. See? So this is YAHAWASHI that Ezra saw as a young man in this vision, which was a vision of ultimately the victory in the elect, you know, getting crowned and getting those immortal bodies. He saw YAHAWASHI as a young man. Now, when we go here to the book of Micah, chapter 5, verse 2, but you, O Bethlehem Ephratah, are only a small village among all the people of Judah, yet a ruler of Israel will come from you, one whose origins are from a distant past. You see? So this is also speaking about YAHAWASHI. His origin, right, his beginnings is from the distant past. So, because in the book of Revelation, it tells you that YAHAWASHI was the beginning of God's creation, the Most High's creation. But when Ezra saw him, he was a young man. So that clearly shows you that this whole mindset of age and, you know, you being them trying to slander and saying, oh, they want to grape young little girls and all that, this and that. That's like I said, it's a lie, right? Because ain't nobody promoting and using the scriptures or even physically going out there actually trying to take little girls. And B, in the kingdom, everybody, all of the elect are always going to be young, right? You're not going to have old Israelites in the kingdom. Now, you still are going to have the process of, like I said, children or infants that give suck, and then little children, right? And then once they reach their stage of puberty, they transition from being a child going into adult, a young woman or young man. But at that certain point, there's going to be a certain point, and I can't tell you what age, quote unquote, how many years it's going to take, but there's going to be a certain point where all the Israelites stop aging. So this is a mortal argument from carnal men, because they're looking at this from this side. They're looking at the scriptures and trying to take this and say, oh, this, you got to understand that the scriptures dealt with culture. They dealt with, I pulled that up too, right? Because I just typed in, what does the Bible consider a woman of a marriageable age? It says the Bible does not explicitly state a specific age. Why is that? Because it deals with biology, right? That the Lord made made a woman, a female, become a woman all around. Most women, I can't say all, but most women all get their menstrual cycle around the same age range, between 10, 11, 12, 13. Most men all get that first, ejaculation, ability to ejaculate around the same 10, 11, 12, 13, right? So it doesn't deal with, oh, you have to at this specific age, right? 12, 13, that's when you become a marriageable. No, you become marriageable when you're able to reproduce, because wasn't that the whole point of the Lord creating men? Didn't he not tell man on earth to be fruitful and multiply? Wasn't that not the first commandment that he gave? So he didn't say be fruitful and multiply, but you got to wait until, you're 18. No, when you're able to be fruitful and multiply, be fruitful and multiply, right? Now, reading on, it says, meaning there is no set biblical age for marriage. It leaves the decision for when to marry up to individual circumstances and cultural norms. See, and that is the point. Cultural norms. Here in America, right, in Esau's kingdom, it's not a cultural norm for a 13-year-old, 14-year-olds to get married. That's not a cultural norm, right? It's not a cultural norm. Now, I'll say this. Growing up, and that probably still happens now, but I know growing up, when you had seniors in high school, which were 18 years old, right? 17, 18 years old, when the freshman girls came in, which were 13, 14 years old, they would bag them. They would date the 13, 14, they would date the freshmen. They're between 3 and 4 years apart, but this man is 17, 18, and this freshman woman, young woman is 13, 14. And nobody had a problem with that. There was no issues with that, right? But once again, because these men are trying to take a mortal stance on something, right, that really is being applied really in the kingdom, because it can't be applied here, even though at a certain point in Esau's own culture, right, you had young women marrying older men, and you read these comments, it wasn't even that long ago that it was happening. 50, 60 years ago, the sheep brothers and sisters on the comment board are stating how their grandparents differences in age were. Right? I just met a Edomite couple last week where they were 11 years apart. The man was 11 years older than his wife. See? But like I said, they have, and I'm speaking about them, talking about these Genesis Israelites, they have a mortal thought. And that's why the scripture says here in 2nd Ezra 14, verse 14, let go from the mortal thoughts. Because when you're thinking like an immortal, which we're hoping to be of the elect that gets changed into those immortal bodies, you're not thinking about, age and all that. Because that's not, like I said, that's not going to matter. Because what if you're 1 trillion years old in the kingdom and you want a new wife, right? You want a new wife on your 1 trillionth year of being, in the kingdom. And where are you going to get this wife from? Because any of the other women that are that age, they're all going to be married, right? They're all going to already have men. You're going to have to get a woman that is a lot younger than you. She may be only 15, 16 years old in the kingdom, and you're 1 trillion years old in the kingdom. Are you going to be looked at? Even let's say she was 25. Let's say she was 25. Let's say she was 30 in the kingdom. Let's say she was a 30-year-old woman, quote unquote, 30 years been in the kingdom, and she's not married yet, but you've been in the kingdom for 1 trillion years already. Are you now a creep? Are you now looked at as being nasty? Remember, you still look like a young man. You still look like you're in, whatever age bracket that you, between, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, you still look like that, but you just been on the earth for 1 trillion years. So you see now another chick, she's been on the earth. She looks like she's between 15, 16, 17, 18, but she's only been on the earth for 30 years because she got, born 30. She was born 30 years ago because we're still going to have children, right? Does that now make you trying to take a little, in your eyes, you're over 1 trillion years older than her? Does that now, classify as you being the P? You trying to take a little girl? Once again, put off let go from the mortal thoughts and cast away the burdens of man and put off now the weak nature. Okay? It's a weak nature. It's a weak argument that they're trying to push. And ultimately, when you're dealing with the scriptures and you're dealing with the truth of the matter, the Lord had these things happen, right? Menstruation periods, and or when you first get a woman first get her menstruation. What is a marriageable age? The Lord has that all written in the scriptures for a reason, so we can know. All right, it's around this time, because in the kingdom, age is not going to matter. So how are you going to know a woman is of a marriageable age in the kingdom? If age don't matter, if we're ageless, how are you going to know a woman is of a marriageable age in the kingdom? That's my question to these guys, and I'm sure they won't see this, but that's what I want to know. How do you know what is a woman of a marriageable age in the kingdom when we are all immortals? What makes her a marriageable age? You want to tell me 18 years old, 21? Do you want to apply Esau's cultural norms to the cultural norms of YAHAWASHI in their kingdom? In the kingdom of heaven, which would be a righteous kingdom? I don't think so. So, that's pretty much it. That's my question I posed to them. And, Lord willing, this was edifying unto the elect. Like I said, this is just a complete slander and really a weak stance that these guys are taking, and it's really a carnal, immortal stance that they're taking, really just to try to throw dirt on the truth, okay, which starts with the apostles of Great Millstone on down. So, with that, Lord willing, is edifying unto the elect, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Ba'ashem Yahawah Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Shalom.